Viewer contributions make local programming possible on WNIN. Become a member of WNIN with your contribution so we can continue to make this programming available. Visit WNIN.org and click on the donate button.
All right, he's out of timeout and he's back.
And it is great to be back. I'm sorry for all of you that the ratings sort of suffered the last show, but I am back.
Zoomed.
You did a nice job with Diane Rhymes with Lion and Dr. Hanka Burnin' Love. I thought it was a fine show. I mean, well,
Professor Hanka really missed you.
I bet he did. Did either one of them project that Cheryl Musgrave would win the mayor's? Oh, wait, that was the last time around.
Well,
Your Honor, I want to start the show
go ahead
with a hypothetical.
Yes, sir.
Because I need some guidance on this. You know that my practice for almost 50 years has not really involved criminal law. So I need your guidance on this set of facts. If the Evansville Police Department got a great tip that a car was going down the Lloyd Expressway full of cocaine and contraband. I mean, a solid tip that they believed that car was full of drugs. Are they legally allowed to go ahead and blow it off just blow it off the damn street and kill the occupants?
Not without a warrant.
Oh, they would have to have some kind of process, don't they? Or, I mean, I didn't do criminal law. Can you kill a car full of people without any arrest, warrant, probable cause, and all of the due process
The
kinds of
fallacy
things?
with your analogy is the fact we're not talking about American citizens.
Oh, so a boat out in the water without being searched, without anyone being able to say the names of the people on it, can be completely destroyed at the whim of an orange monster criminal president, in other words.
Well, I don't think that's necessarily the facts of the case.
Well, tell me what I'm missing here.
I think there's really a cartel in operation there. Now,
Suspicion's good enough. No declaration of war. We don't need that.
it is a state of emergency.
Oh, well, are those Venezuelans? I mean, the price of coffee has gone up.
A clear and present danger.
Narco-terrorism. Bolt your doors, an extra one tonight, ladies and gentlemen. The Venezuelans may be coming for you. I first want to salute the winner of the contest, Jean, the nice lady that walks with Mrs. Levko, correctly picked Congressman Messier out of the lineup. Most of you voted for Elmer Fudd, but no, he was in spot number 2 right there between Charlie Brown and Don Rickles.
Let's stop being disrespectful to our congressman and talk about things that are on the agenda right now.
Let's talk about things that are on the agenda.
As we're taping on Monday the 3rd,
yes,
the government's still closed.
It is indeed
But
closed.
the polls will be open in New Jersey and Virginia tomorrow.
They will be open in New Jersey, Virginia, and for
New York
the
City.
mayoral race in the Big Apple.
So what's your prediction?
Democratic Socialist.
And let me ask you this.
Virginia's a foregone conclusion. Depending upon which poll you look at, New Jersey could be closer. I don't think so. And I think the Democratic Socialist candidate in New York is a winner big time.
Is that because Barack Obama, also known socialist, came to endorse him?
Well, you know what's been interesting is Don the Clown, our president, really hasn't gotten involved in the New Jersey or Virginia governor race, has he?
I was going to ask that. Putting aside all our little digs on each other, I think it's very interesting that the president has not gone and stumped in person. He's going to do a video thing tonight.
Oh, boy, I can't wait.
That doesn't do much.
No.
Why he hasn't gone there in person?
Because he's really got his mind and his fixation on the fact that there are midterms 1 year from tomorrow. And as Professor Diane told you in the show that was a little boring because I wasn't there, roughly 28 seats change in a midterm. So Don is doing everything he can do to make sure that he retains both houses of Congress. If he doesn't, he will be in big trouble.
Well, on that note,
yes,
as we are taping our show for Thursday, the members of the Indiana General Assembly, the House and the Senate, have convened for a special session in the capital city.
As the stomach turns, you know, I think Representative Burton said it very well. We have complaints about high utility bills. We have homeless. We have the concern about your medical bills about to double, your medical premiums about to double as of November the 1st. But our legislature convenes, not because anyone has indicated there's so much for it, because Governor No Brains All Brawn decides he's got to do the MAGA thing and call our legislatures at a cost of, what is it, roughly $500,000?
$240,000.
$240,000 to show Don that he's a player.
Here's the interesting thing. Senator Good from Vigo County had a town hall over the weekend. Not one person spoke in favor of the special session. Mitch Daniels' column in the Wall Street Journal told members of the General Assembly, listen to the people. And still, there's a real push to have this session.
Do you think it'll pass?
I think that given how these districts are laid out right now is about as far as you can go. So any change is going to be subject to court review. If they'd make the changes, they won't be permanent.
Finally, before we introduce our guest, and we are going to introduce you to a newly elected council person right here in the city of Evansville, so stay tuned. The Supremes on Wednesday, we're taping on Monday,
right,
are going to hear an argument about his calamities, belief that he can lay tariffs without congressional action, without any legislative enactment at all, once again declaring another kind of emergency. I mean, we can kill Venezuelans because there's a narco problem, evidently, but we can also evidently lay tariffs, which are taxes, upon anything and everything because there is an international what? Economic emergency. How's the Supreme Court going to rule on this one?
I'm not going to predict, but I would take an educated guess. They're going to probably find those tariffs to be improper, illegal. But the real question is going to be...
Really? You think? I mean, they're going to look at Don and say, sorry?
Patrick, you forget. Lifetime appointments. They're not beholden to him.
They haven't shown it yet. They gave him immunity.
Patrick, the immunity, we'll set for another day. That's not a blanket immunity. There's a poor factual record for that decision. But moreover, here's the real problem. If they do find those tariffs to be unconstitutional, what do they do with the tariffs, the money they've collected? Is it going to refund billions of dollars?
Well, with that and the thought that George Santos was pardoned, it makes me want to wrap myself in a Navajo blanket, take care of my sinus problems, and count blackbirds and go to sleep. But that would be silly because we are going to bring to you right now a guest that you want to stick around and see. Stay tuned. Dear 5 million loyal viewers, we have a treat for you tonight. Many of you will recall, especially those of you who have lived in the Second Ward for many years, that Missy Mosby has been on the council since Les was a boy. However, she resigned that seat to take over some job involving dogs or some such
Animal
thing.
control.
Animal control. That left a vacancy on our 8-1 Democratic City Council. So our Democratic Precinct Committee people got together, had a caucus, and guess what? Right here on Shively and Shoulders, you meet the new Second Ward City Council person. Welcome, Rita Taylor.
Thank you so much.
We are so glad to have you. I think the public, a lot of people know you, but now the whole city needs to know you because you got to vote on all things city important. Look right at our camera and tell all of our people and your voters in your ward who the hell you are and where you come from.
Well, to the 5 million viewers,
Yes.
that have somehow found this great show. My
Good
name
start.
It's really good. I'm working really hard here. I got a lawyer and a judge. Numbers are off. But my name is Rita Taylor. I am a native of Memphis, Tennessee. have lived in several cities throughout the United States and moved to this wonderful city of Evansville in 2007. I relocated here through AT&T.
You're not in the Federal Witness Protection Program.
Not at this moment.
Okay, go ahead.
Not at this moment. But I mean, I won't go there.
Knows.
I don't know how the feds are doing right now with us, so they wouldn't know. But I've been here since 2007. Came through AT&T. Spent total between with corporate America about 20 years working in organizational management, strategic, logistics, budgeting, hiring, unfortunately firing sometimes, but really came to know the city through volunteer work. When I came here, I immediately got involved in the community. I was a board member at the AIDS Resource Group for over 10 years, was the president for several years there, been involved with many other community organizations, been a big part of River City Pride and just so many other amazing organizations, Albion for a while. So that's how I got to know the city, is before I really met people and did all of that, I started doing community work. And from there, it's been an amazing journey. Especially, years ago, and I guess I can't say years ago, I may be the youngest at the table, I'm not sure.
I'm guaranteeing you are.
A couple years, not much. But years ago, we used to host a really big backpack drive. And I loved it because it was the way to connect with the community. And we started off, we were so excited our first year, we had 75 backpacks. We were so excited, we thought we were doing something. By the last one, we had over 1,000. And so, it was a great way of just being that connection part in the city, but really also understanding through that what our community needs were. So that was how I, just really jumped in and got to know the city.
When you're not doing city council work, what's your better paying gig?
Well, let me tell you, my joy is supporting educators. I was an educator at McGarry Middle School. Shout out to McGarry for several years as the ELA teacher. Some of the finest educators I've ever met were at that school in EVSC. Also, shout out to Dr. Hoover, doing an amazing job, really excited.
Lawyer for the EVSC, go ahead.
I may have seen this gentleman somewhere before.
Oh, go ahead.
But it was not at a trial. That's the important part. It was not at a trial. But I now work for the Indiana State Teachers Association as the racial and social justice organizer in the government relations department. So I've been a little busy because there's some things happening up in Indianapolis that has taken so much of my time in these last 2 weeks because I am being in government relations, we're on call right now.
I bet that's
see
the
what's
truth.
About to happen.
You're getting ready to take the seat. You haven't been sworn in yet.
No, you want to do that? Not so much? Okay, never mind. Go ahead.
Take a break here, maybe do that. No, seriously. You haven't even been to your first meeting, but let me ask you this. What prompted you to seek this position?
This is actually a funny story. Years ago, I probably about maybe 10-something years ago, I was making jokes about I wanted to run for the city council because I really, I've been working in politics since I was 18, 19 years old. And it has always been a passion of mine because it's one thing I've always been behind the scenes though. Running campaigns, things of that sort. But sometimes when you really want to see things done, you want to affect change from the front. So I really wanted to run. However, Missy Mosby has the animal people. It's really hard to defeat animal people in a political race. And I also, from what I was seeing, she was doing a good job. And so you don't want to, don't want to split the vote when it's someone that, seems to be doing a really good job. And so when it was announced that she was going to the animal control, some of my friends called my bluff and said, hey, you've been saying this. Are you going to do it? Are you going to put your money, your mouth where your money is and all those things? And so I said, okay, I'm going to put my name out there, see what happens. And, made some phone calls, talked to some people. But the one thing that I really wanted was a continuation. Didn't want to have a big gap there. Things are too serious right now to have a gap in that role. And so I am very, very excited to be able to step in and continue the work that was being done and even expand it in ways that I can.
Let me ask you this. What do you think are some of the biggest issues that need to be faced for Evansville?
One of the things I continue to hear is this notion of affordable housing. affordable housing is not really affordable housing. We have a lot of housing right now, and they say it's at market rate and things of that sort. I really believe in attainable housing, and so when there's a difference, you can have affordable, but sometimes people just really can't even afford that. So I really am interested in deep diving into how we can make housing more attainable to people.
Please explain.
So sometimes it comes down to incentives. So what are the incentives? Is there a program that we can maybe waive some first and last month's rent type thing? Those deposits, those things that keep people, because someone may have the income, but most people right now, per stats, don't have a savings account that has $5,000, $6,000 in it. So housing still becomes unattainable. Even though they may even have the income to get in, they don't have the resources for those things to actually get the key to that. So I really want to look into some of those incentives and what we can do about breaking those barriers so people can get some housing.
What is your relationship with the mayor and the other current members of council?
One that I need to work on. I know them as people. But I will be very honest and say I don't have a personal relationship with any of them. And I don't know if that's good or bad. I know that it's something that I have to really work with. I've seen some comments out there in the socials where people think that, they brought me in and they, I'm their friend and things of that sort. If friends are considered Facebook friends, I may have some of them there.
So you didn't have you been involved in Democratic politics in the city for a while?
Only in the background.
Okay.
I've only played background.
It's the precinct people who voted you in.
Right.
We don't have to talk about names, but did you have opposition?
I did let me say this, no opposition was present the day I was there.
Okay.
That's what I know.
Okay.
One issue that's going to manifest itself rather quickly here. The city has decided to terminate their private contract with AMR and provide ambulance service at a great financial risk. Have you been brought up to speed on that issue?
Only through the media, what I've seen before. When it first was released and I saw it, I started to look at what some other cities were doing. And I saw a few cities that it was amazing. They were able to just really jump in there and it became great.
Making money. They're making money.
They are making a lot of money. But I saw some that what I would say is I don't think the planning was thought out very well, and the what ifs were there, and they also didn't have the reserves. So I am concerned about that, and I don't have the answers yet because I haven't been sworn in to get that behind the scenes data. But that does concern me to ensure, do we have the reserves that we'll be able to support if it does not go the way we believe it'll go immediately. And our public, our constituents, our residents, that's a place that we can't guess. That's life and death.
Right.
So that's not a place that we can guess. So it causes me great concern for that. I used to live on Washington Boulevard right down the street from the hospital. And being that close and just really knowing the ins and outs of that area and knowing how important that is and getting through the city and having those vehicles available, and not just available, but are they prepared? Are the vehicles updated? Are they modernized with what we need right now? So all of those things fall into that, and I'm interested to see what the actual blueprints and plans and contingencies and reserves are for that.
One of the big responsibilities of the city council, along with the mayor, is maintaining our streets. Our streets are in horrible condition.
Filling potholes.
Not just filling potholes, making the streets so you can travel.
Yeah, I did get a Facebook comment where someone was very concerned that I was not qualified to fill the sinkholes. And I just want to say to the public that they're absolutely right. I've never filled a sinkhole in my life. I did sweep some leaves out of the gutter to get, for mine to drain. So if that gives me a little bit of qualification, I'm in there. And I am definitely willing to work with the city, get a little dirty, but I did just get my nails done. So
now let me think. The council seats run with the mayor, right? So that means you have this gig for 2 years?
No,
Or is it one? Is it
I
county,
think
city,
it's
state?
The city election will be in
27?
27.
Yeah, I mean, it's a year from, November a year from now is county elections, I
Right.
think. And then the next year is city.
Correct.
Okay. So you get 2 years to see this, so it's too early to ask you if you're going to run for it.
I am.
You already know that, and you haven't been
You wanna be
sworn
my
in.
You could be my campaign person.
Well, I'd love to, except we can't because of this television show.
Okay, well, never mind. I tried.
Yeah,
But he can still write you a big old check.
That is absolutely.
you know,
I
at
will
our
be
age,
the
that's
first
about,
phone call.
At our age, that's about all we do anymore. You know, we just can't hardly
Listen,
walk
you have to
door
get in
door.
where you can. You
So
have to get in where you
second
can.
ward, and let me think. In my day, 6th was way west, 1st was way east, 4th was sort of center city, and 2, 3, and 5 kind of filled in. 2 used to go kind of east, sort of south. I know they've redrawn
Yes.
them. I don't expect, but you live obviously in that area.
Yes.
Your people haven't started bringing, I mean, is there a specific crime? Are there specific potholes? Do you have a specific agenda when you get sworn in?
Yeah, I did. And I'd made this really big list of things that I wanted to do and the things that I thought were really important. And then I remembered I work for the people. I probably need to check in with them first before I submit something. So that's one of the first things that I want to do. And I've been, thinking of how can I engage. I know that the neighborhood associations are very active in the area, so definitely going to engage there. But even do maybe some virtual town halls and things of that sort. But I spend a lot of time really researching, like, what are my priorities? And then I realized that they're not my priorities; they're our constituents.
This seems a little mundane, but one of the things you're going to be called upon to do is vote on zoning decisions. And you could raise the property taxes by 10%, but a rezoning could fill the whole room. How are you going to handle those kind of decisions?
One of the things that I believe in is equity. And so one of the conversations that's happening now is, what business can be where, how many can be in a certain area. And I want there to be equity. And this is a thin line for me. So equity means that I want to ensure that I don't want to say, well, if you're building a library, we'll let you go there. But if you're building a shoe store, you can't go there. Like, I really want to look at that because there's a lot of discussions now on the types of businesses. And before I kind of give my personal, I want to hear what the community is saying. Because I struggle sometimes with what type of business may go there and then pushing people out. Because at the end of the day, the money is important. The revenue is important. And if there's anything, I want to definitely look at what's going to bring in the most money for our community. But are there businesses that also can be places that are hiring, that can bring jobs to the community, to bring, highlight some things in that area as well? And what businesses are also able to give back to the community, not just take. We have too many businesses that come in and take but don't give back. And so that's a place that I want to really be educated on, to hear the community, because as a community member, I've been on both sides of it. When I lived at Washington Van, they wanted to put a gas station across the street, right there at that corner of Washington Van, and I lived across the street from there. And my neighbors were like, well, it's gonna be too many lights. The gas station's always gonna be lit up. And I was thinking, there's an accident already every other day. So I'm more concerned with getting in and out. And so that's why I signed a petition not to, because to me, it was more of a dangerous
Those are bread and butter decisions that unfortunately you're gonna have to make.
And they are. And for me, faith is an essential part of my life. While I have the knowledge, I also want to use wisdom. And so I definitely want to spend time, and I don't know if I don't get thrown out for saying prayer, but I do want to pray as well before I make decisions.
As a public official, which is what you are now, what role, if any, do you believe the Evansville City Council has on matters of state and national political matters? For instance, redistricting that our state legislature has determined is important.
Right now, this redistricting thing is, it's definitely kept me up longer than I wanted to be some nights, because I do work in government relations. It's important for our state to be part of it, because who's in those seats impacts the money that we have coming in. And so we have to be really wise on who's in those seats, how they're impacting us locally, and then being able to speak to that. I know there are several write-in initiatives that's happening, that's coming up with different organizations are writing to our legislators, asking them not to convene, not to meet. We have to be involved in that, because if we're not, people are making decisions for us without our input in them. So thankfully, I already am able to get into some meetings with some legislators in Indianapolis, and now I'll be able to speak on both sides, education as well as on behalf of our city.
Well, Rita Taylor, we think you're going to do a great job. Thank you for joining us here on Shively and Shoulders and meeting your public.
Thank you for having me.
When we come back, Les will take unfair shots at me.
You can guarantee it. While you were gone,
Yes.
2 events took place with 2 of our institutions of higher learning.
And those would be?
USI inaugurated their 5th president, who's
An
also,
insider who should hit the ground running.
I wouldn't use the term insider, a USI grad. First USI grad to become president.
Nice.
And the other event was our IU stopped the print edition of the Indiana Daily Student.
And I believe I read that due to public outcry, they have rethunked that decision and are going to allow it now.
If the governor lets him.
If the governor lets him. But he's still studying other allegations of plagiarism and board of trustee appointments of whack jobs and other things.
You know, it's really going to be interesting. 2 things will be there. Tomorrow night's election results.
Indeed.
Whether that's going to actually be a bellwether for 2026.
Both sides will spin it yes and no. I think we can. It's pretty predictable. Fox will say that it's hardly worth covering, and MSNBC will say, Don, pack your bags.
But I also think it's a major event in your party's history, because if Mondani becomes the New York mayor and wins by a large margin, as will be a big shift in the philosophy guiding your party, more to the left, not to the middle. The days of Evan Bayh and Birch Bayh are gone.
More importantly, I believe it'll be that my party welcomes 2 more women into governor roles in this country, since we're about the only party that seems to believe women are capable of holding high office.
Wait a second, we just had a lieutenant governor in Indiana who was a woman.
Right.
And
then when they run for governor, they can't even get the endorsement of the sitting governor.
Again, Patrick, you can have your own opinions about your own set of facts.
Mm-hmm.
No matter who wins in Virginia, we'll have a female Virginia governor.
Indeed, we will. I think that I think these elections will tell us, and you say what they want. They've labeled him everything in the world. Everybody thought Bernie Sanders was a whack job, democratic, social communist. In fact, President Trump has gone, he who has introduced our country into buying pieces of corporation, probably somebody whispered in his ear and said, socialist really isn't a good thing for you to use. He now calls him a communist. But when Bernie said, by God, the minimum wage ought to be $15, oh, it was like the rain will never fall again. Now Bernie seems pretty mainstream with that. America needs to get back to thinking about taking care of working people. If you want to call that democratic socialism, bring it on.
Bernie Sanders is not just for $15 an hour minimum wage. He is for
People.
government control of everything.
He's for health care being a natural American
Your party
human
made a
right.
big mistake allowing him to be in the Democratic primary. He's not a Democrat. He's a socialist.
He is a person who wakes up our conscience to the fact that it is not just businesses that need to be taken care of. It is the business of our government to take care of its citizens.
And it's businesses that provide jobs for people.
You know, Reagan said that, and his vice president called it voodoo economics. We can leave things to business, except when we have to bail them out after the bottom falls out in 2008.
It's not voodoo.
It is voodoo.
It's not voodoo.
It is. Trickle-down economics.
Jobs are what makes this world go around. Mm-hmm. Small companies, big companies provide jobs, provide income. And Bernie Sanders and Mondani's want to control the factors that create income.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, my 5 million friends, we thank you for watching and listening to everything he gets wrong. Come back next time.
See you next week.